this was my big year of changing my mind about Dak. I've always been a lot farther behind. I've been trailing RJ in terms of loving Dak Prescott, the player. I know all the intangible stuff, the leadership stuff, blah, blah, blah. I was worried about his accuracy, making big-time throws on a consistent basis, and needing help around him, all his full help, in order for the Cowboys to win. And then this year, at the beginning of the season, I was like, okay, I'm seeing it. Like, this guy, he can reach a level of greatness. I'm not changing my mind on that. I just want to get this feeling that I have that there's a funk surrounding him right now, whether it's just a down part of the season, whether it's some injury hangover. I want to get that last feeling. I got like a 10% Dak hangover left in me from the weekend. But for the record, I'm not worried about him in my top 3. I'm not changing my mind about him. I haven't seen enough to do that. He needs to play better. He knows he needs to play better, but Dak is not one of my top 3 concerns. You?
Probably not one of my top 3, but his health might be. Actually, no, he has to be.
You don't think he's healthy?
Man, I'll tell you, he went from the MVP of the league to a calf injury to playing like what he's played like the last couple of weeks. Something ain't right.
But he's running around fine.
Yeah. I wonder if, if
I know that you can scramble full speed for 12, 15 yards, I don't give you a break for health at all whatsoever.
I know. I wonder if, so much of throwing is what? Mechanics, right? And I wonder if some of his issues throwing, because he's been wildly inaccurate, I wonder if some of those are mechanics because he has changed things up based on the calf injury or what, I don't know. Maybe his shoulder's barking again. He's not telling us. Shoulder injuries, they come and go, and maybe he's just not saying anything about it. So, yeah, you have to, if you're worried about it, you have to put the quarterback in your top 3 based on the position and the importance that he plays.
But they're not. It's not a concern of mine right now.
At all. Yeah.
Well, not a top 3.
Okay.
I'm not. It's not alarming for me.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Like, my number 1 is the offensive line.
My questions with Dak are largely speculatory.
Yeah.
Is he healthy? Is his calf still an issue? Did that shoulder injury comes back? So okay, that's fair. O-line, I think the O-line has to be on there.
Yeah. That's my number 1. Is Tyron going to stay healthy? What's going on at left guard? It seems like a coin flip between being disappointed in either of the 2 Connors. And then right tackle. What the hell? What is going on with, even yesterday with some of the Cowboys personnel that was there in the colony that we were talking with? I'm like, what is going on? No one knows. Like, nobody knows. The one thing you get is, well, Collins hasn't had a great year. Okay? Like, when I threw out the possibility of trading him, like my wild trade idea before the deadline, it doesn't sound so wild now after the fact. But it doesn't feel like this offensive line is going to get fixed to the point of where they can be dominant. It's certainly, I'm not even most worried about it in terms of pass protection. I'm worried about it with running the football, man. I am worried about it with not being able to run the football whatsoever. So the offensive line is number 1 for me.
All right, I could be on board with that.
Do you have a clear-cut 1?
I think offensive line, I'll probably do number 1. Dak health, like I said, it's a lot of speculation on that one. If it's true about Dak's health, that what I think might be the case, that's easily my number 1. But since I can't prove it, and I can't prove that he's scared to run, I'm going to have to go with offensive line as my number 1. A couple of the other ones I just have been writing down here since you posed this question. They're discipline.
Yes.
Okay, this team is
number 1
giving yards away, man. They give yards away. I'll bet you if you look at just the sheer number of penalties, the yards of penalties, I mean, we're talking, does a handful of touchdowns overall with the amount of yards this team's been that they've been penalized this year. That's got to be up there. How about Micah usage? The way they use him.
That's not a top 3 concern for me.
Oh, man. I mean, when is the defense bad? When Micah is sitting there keying on somebody that doesn't matter.
Well, you better get used to it because you're going to have Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence playing together now, unless they're going to move Tank inside.
Yeah, I know.
Which I don't think is going to happen.
They're going to have two guys.
Very, very often.
They're going to have two guys rush the passer who can't carry Micah Parsons' job.
No, secondary for me is much bigger. That's not a concern for me.
Secondary has to be.
Secondary, it was my huge concern going into the season. Diggs had all the picks. Anthony Brown had the bad opener against Antonio Brown, and then he shut all of us up. And then you had the game against the Raiders. Sean Payton was trying to target him. I have the secondary on here as my second biggest concern. That's number 2 for me.
Okay, can't argue with that one. O-line, secondary, those are great ones. Autoflex 60 fan text. Biggest concern is that Kellen got his playbook and Jason Garrett's mixed up.
Hey, did you see what Bobby Belt tweeted? And what I was going off the most about on Friday, I was so my number one individual I was ticked off at was Kellen Moore because he didn't want to run the ball outside whatsoever. Mike McCarthy was asked by the media, "Why aren't you attacking the edges? Why aren't you rushing to the edges?" McCarthy said, "Very fair question." That tells me that he knows it's an issue, that it's been a problem. McCarthy's going to join us on Friday, by the way. And did you see Bobby Belt, who is tremendous?
Your computer screen is quite dirty.
It is. My computer screen is dirty, so thanks. What does that tell you, what I just handed you?
All right, so this is just a chart of rushes by direction. Up the middle, they've run 102. They've had 102 attempts up the middle, 7th most in the league. Their average yards gained is 4.33, which is 10th. That's very good. That's still very good. However, when you go left end, left tackle, it's, both plays combined don't add up to the total amount up the middle, 34 and 39. But they are also 9th and 10th in yards per gain, 6.85, 4.87. I don't think, when I saw this, and I saw this over the weekend, I didn't think this was that damning.
Right.
Because they're 10th in the league in yards per carry up the middle. They're also 10th in the league in yards per carry to the left side. And they're 9th in the league off the left end. And you go to the right, they're terrible. They're right guard 29th, right tackle 24th. Now, if you go way out right, they're 3rd. That's great. But if you're still top 10 up the middle, that's not egregious.
Okay.
That's not egregious. Did you think it was egregious?
No, I didn't think it was egregious either. I was a little bit surprised. By it. So, what else is coming in on the fan text before we move on?
All right, top 3. This is from the 203. I don't know where the 203 is. Number 1 is Dak's health. Something's not right. Number 2 is the O-line. Number 3 is Aaron Rodgers. Okay, there you go.
Connecticut 203.
Oh, the Constitution State. That's very nice. Let's see. Middle line.
And I would put penalties / I guess I could put. I'm not worried about Dak's health right now. I'm worried about Dak's head.
Oh, look, you can make a case that he is scared to run.
Which I believe, or he's been told not to.
You can make a case that he is indecisive at times lately. When he is pressured, he is not good. Dak, I could easily, to me, seriously, I do believe there's something wrong with Dak, that something is injured with him. And that would easily vault my concern with him to number 1. Because without him, they have no chance of winning a title.
Right.
So by default, I think you could say your biggest concern for most of the playoff teams is the quarterback. Is the quarterback going to be right? A head right, foot right, arm right, calf right, ankle right, whatever. That's got to be number 1. But, short of knowing for a fact that he is injured, and I can't prove that, then I probably wouldn't put them at number 1. I'll put the O-line number 1. I think you're dead on. The secondary at number 2. If I want to use the discipline on the secondary, the penalties, not just the secondary, their offense on the roads isn't nearly as good as it is at home. How about the fact that Zeke is maybe quite injured? Where does that play into it? Their inability to figure out where to use Micah from play to play. Yeah, a lot of issues.
Like right now, it would be
Greg Zuerlein.
Oh, you got to put Zuerlein on there as well. Great one on the Autoflex Easing fan text.
Bones with his bones-headed plays sometimes.
He hasn't done anything recently. He's been good. It's recent memory of Bones Fossil pump blocks.
You know what's going to happen with this team. They're going to go after a punt in the playoff game, and they're going to extend a drive because they get a penalty. You know what's going to happen.
Don't put that on them. Don't put that out there.